friend? Hey, are you okay? Actually, now that you ask, I'm feeling pretty depressed. I wish I could see a therapist, but I can't afford it. I'm having a lot of trouble with Yeah, I feel depressed a lot too. Oh, yeah, that's too bad. It just feels like life is so hopeless sometimes. Yeah, and last week my dog ran away. Oh, all of my pets ran away as a kid. I guess no one wants me. I feel like that a lot too sometimes. I had no friends in middle school. I don't have any friends now, haha. Yeah. Okay, bye. Bye. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have new glasses, and I am sunburnt because that is the way of the ginger life, so here we are. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and like this video if you liked it, and so let's get started. I just wanted to talk about the Suffering Olympics because what is with humans and wanting to compete when it comes to suffering? We're all guilty of doing that sort of thing, even if we don't realize it. The word Suffering Olympics is probably pretty self-explanatory, but I use the term to describe the way that someone opens up about their personal troubles, only for the other person to quickly bring up their own issues, and the conversation quickly veers into no longer being about the first person's current troubles, but instead a passive-aggressive competition as each person tries to vent about their issues, and the first person never feels like a sense of relief from talking about whatever started the conversation in the first place. I think we all open up when someone talks about their own struggles due to a number of reasons. One is a very human instinct to want to relate to someone else. When someone opens up about an issue, it makes you feel more comfortable talking to them about your own issue, and we're so overwhelmed and just bursting with our own troubles that it just overflows when we feel like we can relate to someone. Part of this habit also probably comes from a place of good intentions and an instinct to sympathize with others. Unfortunately, it kind of just comes off as bad listening. It can be really hard to empathize with someone when you are suffering yourself. But we all need someone to listen to us because life is really hard. Even if you have no problems, listening to everyone else's problems is bound to make you depressed. I mean, therapists usually have their own therapists for a reason, and so on and so forth. It can be aggravating to be on the receiving end when you bring up something you want to talk about, no matter how mundane or serious, only for the other person to start talking about themselves. I know that when I accidentally talk about my own issues after someone opens up to me, I feel really bad about it later, which is probably pretty common. In general, we don't mean to be jerks to our friends. However, everyone can benefit from being a better listener. It can strengthen relationships and, on a more personal level, feel really good too. But it can be tricky too, of course, because you can quickly get stuck in a cycle of being the listener. This eventually leads to burnout, and you can no longer be that person for anyone. I think a lot about the show The Good Place when I think about this issue, and one big question in the show comes up. What do we owe each other? Well, I think we owe each other the acknowledgement of the experience of being human, and there are inherently some obligations that come with that. One of those is self-improvement. Listening is a sport in these Suffering Olympics, and many people are too busy training for the suffering part that they don't have time to cross-train in the much harder sport of listening. Listening is a part of self-improvement. Full disclosure, this is coming from someone who is literally the worst at listening due to ADHD and also raised by a parent who struggled to listen as well. So having trouble listening is kind of a learned behavior from me, but it's still something that can be done. While it can be difficult to not compete in the Suffering Olympics, it's important to do so for self-growth, self-control, strengthening relationships, and widening your perspective. I hate to say it because it's the most difficult thing in the world, but it can be rewarding, and if everyone were to do it, then things would be a lot easier for everyone. Because life sucks, and we all need to be there for each other. While this may sound cheesy, it's true. That being said, don't push yourself beyond what you're able to provide. Find a therapist if you can if you're the one that's suffering. But for those of us who are around to listen, do your best to do so because it can create a lot of good. We owe each other that much since we're all having this experience on Earth where it can be hard to just exist. The funny thing is, when I was talking about writing this video, everyone I talked with knew exactly what I was talking about when I said the term Suffering Olympics. It's a universal experience, and yet we all do it. It feels almost impossible to avoid as a human with feelings and needing to get them out. The problem is, we all want to talk about our issues with our friends, but doing so can ironically cause issues in friendships. This may be because suffering is relative. I think the panoramic has made this problem worse because we've so been isolated and have struggled in our own ways. none of us have the mental or emotional capacity to be there for others. But if we all want to go about solving this issue, it's important for us to remember a few things. One, like I mentioned earlier, try to remember that we owe each other grace. We're all humans with needs, and a little sacrifice can go a long way. However, don't forget to take care of yourself too. Second, remember that suffering is relative. Finally, make it a practice to start listening to others. Truly listening, at least occasionally. We don't have to pretend like we enjoy every moment of what we give to others. While it can be rewarding, empathy can be exhausting, especially in times such as these, but it's worth it to share a little of the mental load and be there for each other in the suckiness that can come from just existing in this world. I hope that made sense. Do you participate in the Suffering Olympics? Let me know below in the comments section if it's something you can relate to, especially right now with everything that's going on, because I feel like it's something we all can't help but participate in, and yet it's something we can all make better too, and I think we owe each other that. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye!